Chapter 12, Into the Spiritual Dimension. So in the What If Challenge, we must now look into the abyss of beyond death. And this is a personal thing in an arena where the result is either resurrection into the spiritual dimension of Christ or remain in the spiritual dimension of this world. All we appear to know about death and an afterlife is gleaned from the unreliable source of religion, and in the West that means Jews, Christians and Islamics, all drawing from the God of the book, who does not exist in the form that has been given him. This does not exclude the reality of the existence of that spiritual intelligent force that existed either as a force or personalized in the spirit dimension that grew out of the Big Bang. There is no logical reason to discount the evolution of this spirit world, as we have the visible evidence of the creation method of intelligent evolution. This spirit evolution would have given us an intelligent spirit world that evolved spirit life forms. This is a dimension we can only guess at because we have no understanding of the spirit life. We talk of angels, but are they too the creations of imagination and religion? We just do not know. So in the spirit of what if, we just assume that out of the Big Bang, there also evolved a dimension that produced spirit life forms, a situation of which we have absolutely no understanding and can only attempt to evolve an understanding by the application of logic. Here we have a dimension peopled by life forms of extraordinary abilities of which we know nothing except that they had nothing material for their life support, and therefore the exercise of power does not exist in this domain. What these creations do, what they aspire to, is just as a mystery. So we cannot imagine such a life and more than an eternal life. All we can surmise is an intelligent spirit world inhabited by spirit beings where abilities, ambitions, purpose, destiny is a complete mystery to us, so any understanding we come again must be based on intelligent logic because the nature of intelligence is universal. At the Big Bang, or when this spirit dimension evolved, the living intelligent individuals, though immaterial, did have a choice to make. The intelligent force that drove this creation would have known the associated problems of power in an intelligent material cosmos, and one must assume would not have evolved intelligent life forms in a material environment. However, the nature of intelligence delivers the act of choice, and it is logical for one to assume that some of the spirit intelligent creations would have thought that perhaps this spirit material evolution could avoid the problem of power and be a successful evolution. To accomplish this, they had to move into the material arena, which created for them the problems that they couldn't move back into the all-spiritual arena because of the curse of power. In a dimension where strength can be unlimited and therefore unequal, the attempted wielding of power would be utterly destructive. This scenario, while based on the theory of what if, has a remarkable resemblance to some of the story from the book and the story of Lucifer. Subsequent thought and religion has painted Lucifer and his angels as the epitome of evil, but just as they got the God of the book wrong, they may well have got the Satan of the book wrong as well. The fact that a part of this intelligent force decided to move to intelligent spiritual material creation does not necessarily mean that force is evil. Just one facet of its creation carries the propensity for evil, as well as the propensity for good. It does, however, raise the question of responsibility for intelligent material creation. The original intelligence force of expelling spirit creations from the original spirit dimension. However, this creation produced a new problem, and it is here that we enter a new phase in our understanding of life and death. Our material persona is composed of two substances, matter and spirit, operating on a common base of acquired intelligence. Unfortunately, when the material body dies, the eternal spirit lives. But how and where? Because the spirit dimension cannot tolerate the disease of power, our spirit entity, our soul, must remain in the material dimension. But without the material body, it can do nothing. This is an awesome thought. It's impossible for us to imagine a living, intelligent spirit being trapped for eternity in the material dimension where it can do nothing, power and no hands. It is here that Christ emerges human-born with all our weaknesses, but cursed or blessed with the spiritual power of the spiritual dimension. Whether he was the result of direct involvement by the spirit dimension or the natural evolvement from the good spirit in our dimension is immaterial. Because of the story from the book, he was classified as the Messiah, the Son of God, and his purpose was to demonstrate that it was possible for humans to overcome the lure of power. We must not forget that his power was far in excess of ordinary human power, and he demonstrated that we must do in this life to be able to handle power, temptation, and our spiritual life. We are told he was crucified, died, was buried, and resurrected. Thus demonstrated that resurrection is possible for those who demonstrated in this life that ability to overcome the abuse of power. Christ said he was going to prepare a new dimension, a new heaven, a new Jerusalem for those who resurrected, because even then we had to have our own dimension to prevent pollution of the spirit dimension. Because with resurrection we will preserve some of our material body characteristics, perhaps in the form of energy, but we will be able to do and live. For those who do not resurrect in this spiritual dimension, they will have to remain in the material dimension, but without a body, without hands, as it were, stuck here for eternity until the end of the world and the cosmos, a weird and frightening thought. Those who demand it and abuse power will have all the power and no means to use it for all eternity. This is not by the judgment or condemnation of a God, but a circumstance brought on ourselves by ourselves. As for Satan and his mates, if they exist, regardless of their power, they too are caught in the material cosmos and unable to return to that spirit dimension they abandoned. They are caught up in the fight of our material cosmos, and the only thing they want or need is freedom from the material hell they lock themselves into. Achieving this freedom may be the meaning of all evolution with mankind, computers, etc., as the foot soldiers as it were for the final great assault on the spirit dimension. Christ has given us an escape route, but we must be sufficiently understanding of our spirituality to take it.